You've reached Avery Silman, owner of Silman Ranch. I'm not available right now. If you're calling about an order, get in contact with Sanford Williard. He'll take care of you. Otherwise, leave a message, and I'll get back to you when I can.
Avery. You stubborn. Why aren't you picking up the phone or answering my text? I swear if you don't... Okay, look. I know how hard that had to be to hear. And I know you. You're stewing right now, running every scenario in your head, already deciding how this is gonna end. But it's over. It's done. I never meant for this to spiral like this, Avery. I thought it'd be simple. You talk to him, get some answers, and come home. But I underestimated him. I didn't think he was that dangerous. I was wrong. But I'm okay now, I promise. Lincoln's people are watching over me. Watching over your niece. Darren will never set foot in a Projectus building again. He won't touch me again. So stop. Please, Avery. Just stop. I know you. I know what you're thinking, what you're about to do. But I'm begging you, don't take this any further. Yes, he put his hands on me. Yes, he crossed that line. But I survived. We survived. And I will not lose my only brother over this. Call me. Call me now. We found Jasmine. She's alive. And that has to be enough. Please, Avery, let this go. Let the universe deal with that son of a bitch, Darren Fontano.
This wasn't my idea. I didn't want to come to this settlement and take Federation goods. But our illegal warship needs fuel. And Lady Bossy Butt picked this job. Having 2 militants should have made this easy. Hopefully the ship won't be busted when we get back. Hopefully. Just another dirty deed we do. But hey, at least it's fun.
What's up, everybody? We are live for yet another episode of Rip and the Silverback. Of course, Rip, and I'm joined my co-host with my co-host, Silverback himself. What's up, Ed?
I'm good. I nearly missed this week's episode, I have to confess.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This week's episode of Daredevil gave me narcolepsy.
Well, we're going to be talking about all of that stuff. What I will do is start the show. Thanks to all of y'all for the lovely support. You have been incredible. We got a lot of stuff that's happened this week. Yaira statues have started to go out. Great War separation is starting to fulfill. You can get that cup that Ash is drinking from right there as well. What else? So we have so those two are going to start are starting to fulfill. Blood Root fulfillment that's long been completed. We have closing this on Friday, we have Rippaverse issue number 3, which is why I showed that trailer there. And also happening this Friday, Zaylen, What Kills Must Die, the graphic novel by Chuck Dixon, as well as Joe Bennett, that tandem, will be launching at 6 a.m. That's been like our kind of time slot. So just a lot of stuff happening right now here at the Rippaverse. It's going to be a lot of fun these upcoming weeks. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. So again, I just want to say I appreciate y'all. It's going to be a fun Friday. Of course, you can still get ISOM 3 as well, in addition to Rippaverse issue number 3. Yeah. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Again, thank you so much for that continued support. All right. I do want to open the show with that. Obviously, I'm not keeping up with Daredevil. That's why we have Ass. He's the one that suffers of the both of us through what's happening in gaming and everything. And it also makes for a great conversation because I can only come at this from an objective level because it's not like I've consumed a lot of this stuff. So I guess we can tie it into the whole ratings thing, right? Because I know since the last episode that we did, we have not had a chance to talk about the third episode, right? So we got to talk about that, but we did get some data. I guess let's start with that. Can you summarize that for us? That because I've been reading and I'm like, there's no way that this can be true.
Mm-hmm.
That the viewership for this is worse than Acolyte.
Yes. Substantially worse than the Acolyte. The Acolyte on its first, which had a 2-episode debut, released to 11.1 million viewers in 5 days, which was approximately 3 million below Ahsoka, which did 14 million views in its first 5 days. Again, another 2-episode debut. And then Daredevil, which had a 2-episode debut, did 7.5 million. So it did nearly 4 million less than the Acolyte.
That's hard to believe, man.
And nearly half of Ahsoka.
That is very hard to believe.
It did shit.
That's difficult to even like fathom because even then it's not like, and yeah, we'll get your thoughts on episode 3 in a bit. But even then, man, I don't think anybody went into it with like, okay, let's say this. In comparison to the previous other works that have been coming out, let's say on that platform on Disney Plus, I feel like people went into this having a lot more positive of a view on this. Like people's spirits were up, right? You're going to see some of the characters that people were already familiar with. They knew and loved. People obviously spoke very highly of the original Daredevil series with Netflix. And yeah, I can't make sense of that. Well, no, I can make sense of it. I'm a little bit surprised at that. Now, it's not to say that I thought or assumed that this was going to do gangbusters, but if you would have said, okay, this is for sure going to do worse than Acolyte as far as the rate, I would have been like, yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Yeah, as we say each week, here we are. So
here we are,
which is it's intriguing. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Well, I'll actually tee it up for you. This is my belief as to only explanation I can really give, and I'll let Az give his thoughts here as far as why, right? I think this is a prime example of how, with regards to that cinematic universe, I mean, it's not even with the bit. We used to be like, yeah, people just aren't going to give it the benefit of the doubt anymore, which again, that's not necessarily an incorrect assessment. But I think now it's that people are disinterested, which is a different thing, right? Because at least when people, they give it a chance, like I'm not going to go into this with maybe high hopes or whatever. Now I think people are just actually disinterested in it totally, if not even this, something that people are intrigued by, can compete with his other properties successfully. which is a scary thing, I think, for them. They're going to analyze that and be like, "Huh, that's a little." I don't think they were prepared for that because again, I wasn't. To be fair, I don't think anybody predicted. We weren't talking about this like it was going to be worse than Acolyte.
No.
And again, there have been some people that have watched it. They have said they've at least enjoyed it, but I guess you could say the same thing about Andor or whatever, some of the other stuff that people claim to. I know bored as to death, but people are saying that they like that and didn't do any good if not enough people are going to watch it. Now we already know we won't talk too much about that. Disney Plus is a money pit, right? It's not really that profitable of a venture anyway. But definitely as someone that watched it or kept up with it, before we give your review or perspective on the third episode, what explanation can you possibly give as to why this thing somehow did worse than Acolyte, substantially worse than Acolyte?
Well, I didn't think it would. And I really didn't. I didn't think it was well received. They seem to be very divided in terms of, well, in our sphere, because we do have our own spheres. In our sphere, I would say most people probably didn't warm to it, than did warm to it.
Okay,
and I didn't really hear any sort of online chatter about it. It tended to come from the same sort of places. And even though I absolutely, the first two episodes for me didn't work, just did not work for me at all. I didn't think it was. I actually thought it would not do great in the ratings, but I thought it would do okay because it was Daredevil and there was some hope about this series.
Yes.
And so to see it come in at 7.5 million, I am actually shocked, legitimately shocked. And never mind the fact that we've had just terrible content from Disney in general. Never mind that we've had terrible content from the MCU. I think, I think it's absolutely undeniable now about superhero fatigue. I think it's set. I think it's just really set in. And you mentioned the benefit of the doubt earlier. Benefit of the doubt's gone. That's gone a long time ago.
Right.
A lot of people have Netflix anyway because Netflix is such a variety of shows. It's got a lot of crap on it, but it's got a lot of good on it as well. Whereas with Disney Plus, the good stuff's the old stuff, and none of the new stuff is good stuff. Whereas Netflix does have new good stuff, which could come from different parts of the world. But with Netflix, it's so much easier to have a show like Daredevil there because it can reach a much larger and more willing audience. And I think the MCU's name now is just mud. I think it's just absolutely mud. So if you want to get on board this Daredevil train, you've got to subscribe to Disney Plus, unless you're, watching it with Captain Jack Sparrow. And how many people legitimately want to sign up for Disney Plus? I wouldn't say so. They lost nearly 750,000 subscribers last quarter.
We talked about that. Yeah.
It's a streaming service which has never been profitable. They kind of prop it up based on Hulu and what they brought in.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual Disney Plus side's been a fucking financial disaster. They've used it to hide the money from the MCU, which they can't do anymore. So if you're trying to convince people to pay a subscription to see this show, it ain't happening. And I just think there is, I do think that superhero fatigue is just so. It's just Captain America bombed. Everything's bombing. The Flash with Batman bombed. With Keaton, Batman bombed. Aquaman 2 bombed. Shazam 2 bombed. Phase 4 bombed. Phase 5 bombed, or is in the process of bombing. It's done. It's really done. And this is what you get when you have just poor writing. When you have A, poor writing, and B, you don't have the characters which people want to see. Daredevil, I would argue, is a character that people want to see. But do I want to pay £10, $10, whatever a month to see it on Disney Plus? I don't think so. There's no chatter around anything the MCU is doing. I don't think there's any faith in what they're doing as regards to putting out good stuff. We'd already been pre-warned by our tomato sources that the first half of this series is going to be rough, and I didn't anticipate it would be this rough. I really didn't. But we're 3 episodes in now, and this week's episode was just a fucking disaster. It's absolute disaster of a show.
We're for sure gonna have to. We're gonna talk about that. It's again. I do think that once you lose that sort of goodwill or any of that with your fan base, especially your core fan base, you run into that risk of people reaching that apathy stage, especially when you show them time and time again that it's not really something that people want to. They're not interested in. I think they really screwed the pooch. And I don't even think it's one of those things that we're just saying in retrospect. I think anybody saw, like, from them to go from, like, for example, Endgame to they went from Endgame to like Eternals, right? And like that was a terrible move. Because I think maybe they assumed, and again, I don't think this is just like, hey, it's easy for you to say this because, hindsight 2020. But no, I honestly think that, and I've done these videos. I was doing these videos, like them going in the route that they went. We've talked about it on the show a million times with like the all new, all different. That was the worst thing that they could have did in that after that specific era. Because again, you had pretty much the climax of this whole entire universe that you have built there. So in order to maintain at best that, like, and keep people intrigued, you were going to really need to have some pretty bang up characters and narratives and writers. And they didn't do that. Instead, they went a route that I think all of Hollywood went, where they wrongfully assumed that because they had your monies before, they were going to have access to it in the future. And basically anything that they put with their brand name on it was going to get eyes. And I think what people found out really quickly is, sure, to an extent, but largely no. Like, you can't go rolling into these characters that nobody's really interested in when you should have. Look, I know it's kind of beating a dead horse here. And I'm not saying this like I'm just some guru, because you don't need to be. But they should have fast-tracked the mutants and the X-Men mutants, as well as Fantastic Four, right after that big face. Yeah, that should have been the time to do it. It shouldn't have been Eternals. It should have been all of that stuff, or this Black Widow movie that didn't even matter. Like that, it should have been right after that. Like, and again, I feel like they had time because we knew about those Fox properties being acquired long before, but they sat on it for a while, which didn't make any sense. And I know we have been in streams in the past saying, what was the deal there? You had access to it. Like, why on earth, when we knew Spider-Man was in limbo with the whole Sony situation, but why on earth would you sit on those properties for as long as you did? Because now they're like going to start trying to bring this stuff in, but it's almost like it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, I said a long time ago, when they announced Phase 4, they should have had Phase 4, and then the 4 should have turned into the Fantastic Four symbol.
Yeah.
And Phase 4 should have kicked off with the Fantastic Four. That would have just made so much fucking sense. And then you could have gone from the Fantastic Four to an X-Men movie, a mutant movie, something along those lines, whichever one you want to bring in. I think it would have made sense to kind of build the teams, though.
Of course.
A lot of the first 3 phases was about individuals coming into a team. Phase 4 could have been the teams, the teams and the individuals within the teams. So you start off with the Fantastic Four, then you move into the X-Men. I don't know if they didn't really want to play with Inhumans after that kind of fucked up and everything and whatnot. Don't even want to go. I think that's just now sort of past. But no, we've spoke many times about they wanted to do the all new, all different, and it was a disaster in the comics, and they thought they could do better because now they had people paying money, a lot of money, and a lot of people to see these films. So they thought, oh well, this is the perfect time. Now we've got the biggest audience. Now we can do the all different, all new, all different, and people will be like, yay! They'll receive it well. It's not how people work. You will have the benefit of doubt for a little bit, but if you keep churning out consistent poor quality, then people will step aside. They'll move away. And what they didn't get is, even with the big guns that they had, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, I guarantee you, a lot of people, a lot of normies didn't even know who those characters were. Going into and so the setup for those characters, the slow build with those characters was quite a big deal in terms of getting them into the public eye, getting them into the public sphere, the public vernacular. And then you suddenly drop the Eternals. And people are like, who the fuck are you? Then you drop Shang-Chi and just like, who's this fucking basic looking bitch, getting his balls kicked in by his sister. Then you had Doctor Strange just getting fucking cucked because you're not allowed to have a man dominate in Marvel anymore. Then what else did we? I can't even remember half the shit that came out now. It's like a fever dream. Thor, Love and Thunder, because they wanted to again bypass, make Thor a joke and pass it on to Cancer Girl, and it's just like nobody knows who these characters are, and you're not the focal point,
right?
And so the good work, the big work that they've done, bringing in characters like Doctor Strange, who again most normies will be like, who the fuck this guy? So it's a miracle that movies like his actually did the kind of business that they did. But when you're trying to push Jane fucking Foster as a main lead in a who? Oh, she was Thor's girlfriend in the first couple of Thor. Oh, you mean Padme?
Yeah.
Kind of going down that sort of avenue. They're just bringing in characters that nobody knows. Captain Marvel, of course, just a fucking disaster, as we know. But they're bringing in characters that nobody knows who they are, and they're not good characters. Eternals was a fucking embarrassing film.
It saved lives, though, man.
Oh, yeah, because a dude slapped lips with another dude for 0.4 of a second. So there's all those homosexuals out there that just go, look, oh my God, I've never seen men kiss before. Now let me get back to my fucking Grinder app. Yeah. It's fucking loot. It's when you hear people say, oh, this movie's going to save lives, you do just want to step through the screen and fucking slap him hard across the face. Just shut up. Shut your mouth. You stupid little man. Silly little fucking man. No, there's nothing for people to be invested in. There's nothing for people to like. There's no characters to get behind because the female characters are now masculine, can't do anything wrongs. Even when they do everything wrong because they don't know how to write people in the first place, they're still right. They're making terrible decisions, wrong decisions, but they'll always be the right decisions. The Disney shows, nobody's watching them. Nobody fuckers watching any of these. Nobody knows who Sam Wilson is. They don't have a clue who he is. You just go, no, he's Falcon. But why is he Captain America? If he's Falcon, because he's got his Falcon stuff on. Or he's Captain America now. Why? Oh, didn't you do your fucking homework? Didn't you do your fucking 14 years of homework? Didn't you go through the 20 fucking 8 films and the 5 series and the fucking... Nobody got fucking time for that shit apart from us fucking autists.
Yeah.
No one. No, they're not. They're not putting something out that the normie could like. They're not putting any brand recognition out. They're not putting out characters that people can enjoy. There's no hero's journey. There's no masculinity. There's no femininity. There's no heterosexuality.
And I was thinking about that the other day, man. And it's like, and it's not just a Marvel problem or a Disney problem, but like just on that subject matter at all, nothing is like, and I'm not saying everything needs to be like sort of risque, but everything's like bland, right? Like it's almost like everything's like everybody's a glob, right? It's like you mentioned this sort of lack of femininity, masculinity, and you don't see anything that sort of appeals to that almost at all, really, right now in the major invested films at all, as far as even how they brand things. I remember we went through. It may have been a couple of months ago when we went through like some of these old commercials. Right, 90s commercials. You remember when we had that? There was some of that. Some was out of your country,
collating the chocolate and shit.
Yeah, yeah. And we went through all of that.
Yeah, the James Bond men are coming through the windows with a box of chocolates.
Right. We went through all of that.
Box of chocolates. Now let me finger you.
And we went through all of that, and now you compare that to what we have kind of right now, and it's like everything is
multiracial, no white men, multiracial, black family, brown family, yellow family,
and the family's gay. It's not like it's a nuclear one either. It's not like it's a nuclear family.
Yeah, okay, we brought the white guys back, but they're gay now. Yeah, that's every advert under the fucking sun in the UK. It's just like, wait a minute. This country. I mean, what happened? Where do white people go? Where did they go in Britain? Where did they go? Oh, I think you'll find the white people have never existed in Great Britain.
Yeah, the key one of those. But no, it's everything's just bland, right? It's just all around. I hate to use that term, but yeah, it's just bland. It's not even. I guess you can make the argument that it's too safe that they're making these, but it's not even just that. It's that like you're always having to ask the question of who does it appeal to? Like who is even the attempt? Even if we joke, like
them.
Yeah, it's like, but how many of your peers actually go and buys your stuff for the most part? In any industry for that matter. I mean, they all link up with you at an award show, but like seriously, like how often are your peers the one that are going to be the ones that are invested in your projects? Not oftentimes, not like that. That's just a reality. That's not like that's not industry specific. So yeah, they are making it for themselves. I can for sure see that, to check all of the boxes that they want to check. But it does make for an interesting case, because I know they're looking at that like, fuck, man, if this isn't landing for us, then what will? Now, how true is this? And I saw someone in the chat bring this up earlier, that this did worse than Agatha.
Yeah, right. Agatha did 9 point, I think it's 9 point something, 9.1, 9.7 million in 7 days. But I believe Agatha Agatha had one episode. One episode. This had 2.
I can't explain that, man. Other than, just people are just not, they're just so disinterested. And apathy is a real thing. I think some of the other Disney properties have seen the same thing. We know what this with Lucasfilm as well. And it's an interesting thing because these are iconic. Because look, in any business, one of the hardest things to get, right, is that like people to check you out, right? Look at you. Instead of just looking right over you, because they have so many different options, and a lot of them, whether it's like a first in best dressed, so you especially have to deal with this problem when you're entering into an industry where you're the new guy, right? And though that has its advantages, it has a whole lot of disadvantages as well. But it's very hard for me to imagine that nobody's interested in these properties that everybody recognizes, right? That's what gets me. It's like, it's not like there's a lack of people that know this stuff exists. They of course know it exists. They just don't care to watch it, or they don't care to at least reach in their pockets and pay for it. it's like that enthusiasm is long gone. It's just not there. And that's a hard thing to recover from. It's also baffling in some cases because you're like, how does that even happen? Like, how does something like that even get to that point? And look, I've talked about the financial issues that the industries have faced in the past, especially with comics. It's been a lot of shuffling. It's been a lot of smoke and mirrors. Times that people thought they were doing good, they weren't really doing that well. So that in itself isn't new, right? But man, to be able to put out something that people even you thought were going to look for, and I don't think any of us predicted that it was going to do worse than Acolyte. I don't think anybody would have been like, yeah, I mean, slam dunk. You'd asked any of us before this had aired, we'd have been like, yeah, there's no, I don't know how good it's going to do. I'm not expecting it to do something crazy, but it's for sure going to do better than Agatha. It's for sure going to do better than Acolyte. And it didn't. It didn't at all. So I don't know. I don't know how you. That's a tough thing, man. And I think everybody in the comic book industry has to look at that and be like, "Fuck." But just for a little optimism,
I mean, from what I'm hearing in the comic book industry, they're acting like everything's fucking.
And that's the problem, though. Like, and this will send me on a tangent because I still don't get me wrong. I still want you to review. I don't want to move too far away from it. And I guess maybe I will segue into that because I've seen just so much denial from so many people of just the general health of the industry, but also seeing people do things that are diametrically opposed to actually fixing it, right? It's almost like they're aiding in its decline, which is one of the things that just blows my fucking mind. Like, oh, bro, you know that this shit is not going in the right direction. You're not helping yourself out. You're not helping the industry out by kneecapping everybody and yourself, to be fair. But before we get into that, 2 episodes in, now we're in the 3rd episode in. What was that like as far as Daredevil is concerned? We got to give the Ripper the Silverback review.
Well, there's no Daredevil, so that's okay. It was the court case episode for White Tiger. But they weren't going to mention, of course, he's White Tiger because reasons. And so there was a very boring court case where the policeman who, at the end of the last episode, Charlie Cox literally pancaked his head into the ground so hard that there was a blood splatter. Anyway, he's fine. His mate who got thrown fucking so hard into a wall where his head hit that there was blood splatter on his head. He's fine. They just got a black eye, apparently. They're, oh, okay. And so the court case happens, and the whole thing is that they're going to bring the witness, the guy who White Tiger went to help. They're going to bring him in, and he's going to say, yes, I was on the train platform, and yes, they were beating on me and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's absolutely no tension when it comes to bringing him to court because this episode is so predictable it hurts. And then he gets to the court, then he gets on the stand, and Charlie Cox says, were you there on the night? And he goes, no. So that was that. And you're like, oh, look, no, the whole case is falling apart. So they put White Tiger on the stand, and then Charlie Cox says, oh, you're White Tiger, aren't you? And everyone's like, what? And the judges are like, see him in my chambers now. And instead of calling a mistrial immediately, because they weren't meant to mention this in court, and when you bring things up in court which aren't meant to be brought up in court, pretty much going to be heading for a mistrial.
Mistrial, yeah.
He's just like, oh, I'll allow it. So the policeman who was there, who lied on the stand and said, there was nobody else but me and my partner, and this guy just came up and punched us to shit and threw him onto the train track. The guy who was there, their star witness, who turned around and said, no, I wasn't actually there at all. This guy's lying. suddenly they say, "Oh, White Tiger. Well, he's beat up a couple of criminals, so he's good now." And the jury just like, "Yeah, okay, he's innocent of all charges: first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and manslaughter." And I'm like, what? This stupid. And then Kingpin is like, "Oh, vigilantes." So he has one of his cronies kill White Tiger when he gets into his White Tiger costume when he gets home. He gets home, he's like, "Yeah, I'm innocent. I'm going to go out and save people," and he gets shot in the head. And the guy walks off and he's got a Punisher thing on his chest because I don't know if you're aware of this, Eric, but all cops are bastards.
Mm.
And they're going down ACAB route, and they're having corrupt cops with the Punisher logo because retarded libtards, fucking retarded leftist fucking cuck munchers. They think that the Punisher wouldn't fucking kill corrupt cops. So why would the corrupt cops have the Punisher logo? It would make no fucking sense for corrupt cops to have the Punisher logo. Just because some cops in reality have adopted the Punisher logo as a bit of a kind of like solidarity thing. So they're going down the whole ACAB. All cops are bastards. Kingpin is being held down. He's not being allowed to do anything. That's it. That's all that happened. It was boring as fuck. I was bored off my fucking tree. I was clock watching it. I was just like, this is rough.
How long was it?
2.
What? 2 what?
Long.
Retard. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's really good. I like that. But no, like I don't know, man. You said that one of your sources said give you some time, at least get through the first half of the
first 6 or so episodes, and there's 9 episodes, so it's
Okay.
kind of like the rough start is actually rough 2/3 by the looks of it.
Okay. Well, we shall see. I do think that it is worth kind of talking about the comic book stuff and the fatigue element of it, because man, I want to be as precise as I can, because I look at what's happening right there as far as this enthusiasm is what's going on in the East. You have like and it's not just Japan, right? You have these monos like out of Korea, right, that are doing very well, as well as their animated versions of them, the Blue Locks and all that. So the East seems to be having all of the stuff that you would anticipate for sure was happening, I guess, in the generations that we grew up in, though internet wasn't as widely available. They have, I guess, what you would expect to be happening for the Western companies, especially the bigger publishers. People are actually enthusiastic about it. They're talking about it. They're discussing it. They're doing fan art. They're doing all that cool stuff, right? On the characters, and that's the conversation. Unfortunately, in the West, it's far from the conversation. We're talking about some of the stuff we talked about now, where it's everything else surrounding the projects, as opposed to the projects themselves. Okay. And I don't think that the creators that are involved on these projects actually help themselves out either, right? They have obviously adopted a lot of the social views that don't help them at all. Weaponized it, right? Hijacked characters, bastardized characters, and then you have that just general arrogance of some of the creators that, well, your success cannot be tolerated, right? And therefore we must go after you. And that just doesn't help the industry at all. And it's also a different cultural attitude than what we see out there in the East. Okay. And I think all of that attributes to why people feel the way that they do about comics. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but we specifically discussed, like, a lot of these problems are strictly Western problems.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, big time.
and they're all, but it's all encompassing. There's just like pick the thing of the day that you want to talk about. That is it almost appears, it feels like it's almost like purposeful, man, where people are trying to fuck this industry as much as they can. Even the people that are within it that claim to love the industry so much as they possibly can. And it's like, all for what? I don't really understand the end game. What I do see is that we are about to have a full generation of people, and that's scary, that don't give a motherfuck about anything really coming out of the West as far as comics are concerned. The comics that they are into, the comics that they are mostly intrigued by are Japanese, are Korean. The same goes for the animation. And that to me is like a wake-up call. It should be for the internet. And I say this as someone doing pretty decently for myself as an independent publisher. Looking at the just overall health of the industry is fucked. And that should be frightening, I think, for everybody. Now, I do have my opinions on what will get us out of that, but it's not like they're going to listen to me. I think personally that, and I don't care, it's because it's all ego. It's all fucking ego, right? It seems like everybody cares a lot more about personal gain as far as like, how do I explain this? Sometimes it's like a means to an end, the comic books, right? So some people it's social views. We talk about all the time, the DI, the leftism, that's what it's all about. Like, okay, we make comics to try to force behaviors, right? For lack of better terms, right? That's their whole thing. But it all starts with the ego aspect of it. Like that seems, at least for a lot of creators that are within it, people that work for some of these companies as well, they cannot put that aside at all. The world must be centered around them and their views, and everybody else. It's like they make it feel as if the fans have to live up to their standards, not the other way around.
It's
not
insecure people,
right? Not
the low self-esteem. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's the worst combination to have. Big ego, low self-esteem. Because as soon as your ego is challenged, you switch. We have these. Well, a lot of them. Come on, let's just call it how it is. Well, a lot of them, as we all know, they're not hired on merit, and they know that they are imposters. They know that they have infiltrated an industry that they have no business in being in whatsoever. And so, whereas we used to have creators that would take the character and respect the character and see where they could, implement their own little touches and their own little imprint and whatnot. Now we have people who think that they are the main character.
Yep.
We have main character syndrome on the creator side.
Yes, absolutely.
And the actual characters themselves are now working for that creator as opposed to the other way around, the way around it should be.
That's putting it perfect. I don't think that could have been said any better, because I agree with that 1000%. And it just doesn't help the industry at all when that is unfortunately the way that people, and I think, look, let me back to this a little bit, because what's really happening is you get a couple of people, more than a couple, that have adopted that tactic. And unfortunately, they've convinced a bunch of other creators that this is the tactic. Make it about yourself. And I think there's a fundamental difference between being personable, right, to your fans. You want them to, you want to feel like a real human being, and that can help people relate to your product, right? When they feel like it's not being produced by like a physical, like a robot, right? There's a difference between that and thinking that you are the center of fucking attention and every opinion must bend to yours.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously in a lot of cases, especially when we're talking about leftists, the stories have to be reflective of that. Right. And what this is, especially in comics, it's such an immersive industry. It's such a you're trying to take that, and I guess you could say that for almost all entertainment, but I think with comics is especially the case, where you're trying to take that reader and you're trying to bring them into your world. They're exiting the place that is real life. They're exiting where they are at, like whether it be their jobs, their whatever living standard or whatever they have. You're trying to take them away from that, and you're trying to put them in whatever universe that you're trying to put them in. And unfortunately, now that universe has become so character oriented, and I'm not talking about characters as the like characters. I'm talking characters as in the creators.
Mm.
And that just takes the immersion completely out of the fact. And this is why I think, and I'm not saying this that, again, I don't want people to get it twisted, that you shouldn't be personable. But we see this mistake being made even in independent comics, right? Where you get people that I never wanted to put the Rippaverse in a position, right? As an example, where in order for me to try to sell this thing, I felt like I have to talk about everything else but the fucking product. Oh, but the characters, but the universe, right? This is why we make it a point to invest so much money and so much time and so much effort into a website, right? That, I don't know, people can learn about these characters. It's easily able to be navigated, right? General expectation of something that you would have, like if you're taking this thing serious. You've been on them. Spoiler streams. Well, we're not talking about anything else, we're not talking about what's going on in even like in other comics, or we're not talking about generally what's going on in the industry, or we're not talking about what's even going on in social justice world. No, we're talking about the books. And that's what we lead with, right? There's a lot of people that make the mistake, and again, it's not helping themselves, it's not helping the industry, by feeling as if, and that lets you know, I would argue that tells you the health of the industry. When you got creators that feel like I can't sell my shit unless I put it alongside some shit that is totally detached from comic books.
It's not solely true.
Go ahead.
Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Green Lantern.
Okay.
Truck stop. Dude, that can sell wands of comics.
Wands of comics.
Wands of comics right there. Yeah. J. Edgar Hoover smoozing all over, head to toe in his little dress.
Oh no.
You know?
Oh no.
I'm gonna tell everyone you're gay, Green Lantern, unless you bum me. Oh.
Oh
dude,
no.
I'm reckoning we could sell 5-6 units of those comics.
Probably.
See, because what you need to do is take out a character, take out a great character, and then just turn it into you. Just turn it into you.
That's it.
That's all you have to do. Take wonderful little Golden Age characters and just go, I'm this, so they're that now. Do it to Robin. Do it to Jonathan Kent. Do it to Aqualad. Do it to Wonder Woman. Fuck it. It's every fucking character. Do it to Wolverine and Cyclops.
Yeah.
Do it to all of them. Just do it to all of them. They're all just fucking each other. They're just fucking each other. That's all they're doing now. Yeah. Every heroes now is just the creator. It's just an extension of that.
And I want to address this. The answer is no. Right? Now, you can make the argument that some of what we've seen in sort of the social conflicts that have happened in comic books influenced me to get off of my ass and stop talking as much as I do about it, which I literally did, and start actually making my own shit. Yeah. But Rippaverse has its own channel, guys.
Yeah, this isn't. Although this starts off with Rippaverse.
Yeah, we talk. Obviously, it's me. I'm gonna talk about it. I'd be a fucking retard if I didn't bring it up, right? Of course, I'm gonna bring it up.
This isn't a Rippaverse show.
No, it's not. It's ripping the Silverback. Exactly. So, no, it's not. That's not why we do this show, right? The point of the show, hell, especially in where it's plugged in as far as like my general timeline is concerned, this is the show, so we don't have to talk about everything fucking Rippaverse. We can talk about other stuff going on in the world. That's the reason why the show exists, right? So no, like Rippaverse has its own website. Rippaverse has its own YouTube where streams do exist, and we put out countless amount of videos every day. Again, and that's all that we talk about. It's not. It doesn't need to be associated with something else. But like the reason why I brought that up is because, as I said, we're looking at the health of the industry just overall. And I will be the first to say that if people are feeling like, and I've seen this talk be happening, especially in independent comics, if people are feeling like, damn, I gotta make a spectacle and I gotta talk about other shit just to sell other shit. And I'm like, and then you have, unfortunately, people encouraging them to do that. That also in the space, like, oh yeah, you gotta do bullshit like to get people to buy your shit. And I'm like, why do the Japanese not have to do that? Most people don't even know how these fucking mangakas look. They don't even know how they even look. They couldn't, you could put them 5 Japanese people and show them and say, who wrote this book? And most people would be like, I don't know. And I'm not saying that because they all look alike. I'm saying that because so I don't get the wrong.
When you say they all look alike, you are clearly referring to leftists.
Well, yeah. That's when I generally say they all look alike.
Side shave, clearly horrendous body hygiene.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying that all Japanese people look alike.
All leftists do look the fucking same. I agree.
But yeah, I said all Japanese people look alike. I'm saying that
leftists together next to 5 Japanese, I'll be able to fucking tell the 5 Japanese before I can tell the 5 fucking leftists apart.
1000% easily too. Very, very easily for sure. But yeah, seriously, like most people, it's not like they know who these folks are like that, no matter how personable and appreciative that they are. But that shows you that these characters are able to kind of exist on there, and their universes obviously are able to exist on their own. And we're always, for example, trying to work towards that. That's not to say that nobody will ever know I exist, especially after being involved in all the stuff that I've been involved in with the music and the commentary and everything, building a name for myself. So for sure, but there's a difference. And if the American comic book industry especially is feeling like, well, I gotta bullshit in order to sell something, I can't do trailers, I can't do streams talking about this stuff, I can't do advertisements that are solely centered around the project, guys, we're fucked.
Hey, I'll tell you what, speaking about sucking men's dicks and trade stuff, when Tim Sheridan was promoting his Gay Lantern, Green Lantern. How did he sell it? How did he sell it?
He sold it by saying, "Buy it to own the other side."
Yes,
that is about as prime of an example that we could use of exactly what I'm saying. He felt that he had to do that to get people to buy the book. He had to lead with that. It wasn't, hey, buy the truck stop comic. That wasn't it. It was buy this to own the cons.
Yeah,
right. That was what he led with, and that's the problem. Like I say, if American creators in both the mainstream industry and the independent side of things are feeling like they have to do that type of shit, it's saying that these characters are incapable to live on their own. And that speaks to the health of the overall industry.
But that's anything that he did say, though. He did say, show the industry that there's a market for these types of comics. So there is not. Well, there is a minuscule, because you are looking at a minuscule percent of 3%.
Yeah.
So you're looking at that. That is your audience. I'm sorry, but that's just a reality. It's not bigoted. It's not phobic. It's just a fact of reality.
Yeah.
It has to be something extra special above and beyond to get a normie to pick up a comic that's centered around a lifestyle that they're not part of. So no, there's never going to be the mass mainstream market for this because the mass mainstream people don't exist. They may exist in your bubble.
True.
And a lot more of them in your bubble than outside of your bubble because you won't leave your fucking bubble. But sir, that is not indicative of the real world outside. And it's not a representation or an accurate representation of the real world outside. Real world percentages, real world appeal does. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and look, man, I care a lot about this industry. This is why I try to be as I feel like I've shown that more than enough times. Like considering that, I don't know, I had a pretty lucrative little thing going on with what I was doing before by just talking my shit on podcast. And I decided to do way less of that just so I could create, right? And there's a lot of awesome guys out there. Big shout out to our friends over at Iconic. They got some stuff coming out next week as well. And they're killing it. But that's another example of they don't have to do any of this book. All those guys are, even for the most part, Doug will every now and then pop on a stream, or he'll do something like that. But for the most part, Tim and Mark, those guys fucking ain't streaming and doing none of that shit at all, actually. Right? Like they have been able to see success based off their universe and based off their characters. And that's an example of good health for them. Right. And again, I say the same thing about us in that we're able to do the same as well with what we're doing over there at the Rippaverse. There's a reason why that channel continues to grow as more people show more intrigue towards it. But the fact that there's a lot of folks out there in the mainstream and the non-mainstream that feels like, well, I got to lead with everything but this, or you should support this because of X, Y, Z people hate it. Like, guys, that's not a healthy industry. It's not. It's not. And the fact that so many people feel like that has to be the case shows that we're fucked. And you're not going to unfuck yourself by being dishonest about it and acting like, well, everything's fine. Comics are booming. Never been better. Or blaming the economy and other shit like that. Like, while for sure that plays a role in people's spending habits, again, why have people not stopped buying these damn mangas? I have a genuine question, not even a rhetorical question. So somehow they can figure it out. It's coming from the other side of the damn planet as well. But it's just our economy. Like, come on, I just have a hard time believing it.
You're talking about a culture which isn't infested with identity politics, and gender politics. You're talking about a culture which is more traditionally minded, correct, by the way, that understands masculinity and femininity, understands man and women, mans and women's, and understands that they both have strengths and they both have plenty to give. You don't see mangas reducing men to elevate women. You don't see women in mangas for the most part. You'll have certain masculine females from time to time, but you won't have women just being men consistently. No, even the sword players, even the warriors, they still retain their femininity. They still retain their vulnerability.
That's what made Wonder Woman so fucking good, man.
Once upon a fucking time,
well,
until
now
she started eating fucking rats.
Yeah, and somehow couldn't sell a game based off it.
My best friend was a rat. Wow. Now, when you say rat, are you talking about a physical rat, or are you fucking using slang for a vagina? I am really.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I I do think, and I say this with sincerity, that the American comic book industry, especially Western comic book industry, is going to improve. If morale is to improve, I think individual creators and the companies, they're all going to have to get off their fucking high horses and realize that they contribute to the issues, and the issues ain't other people's success. The issues ain't the Japanese. It's just because the Japanese are just like, it's because they're successful, you're failing. Nah, it's just the Japanese show that it's not simply what the Japanese show and their existence, and Koreans, well, South Koreans, of course. I don't know, North Korea. I don't know if y'all doing comics out there. We don't get them.
Yeah, they're cool. We love the
we love Kim Jong. That's what they're all called, potentially. But no, the existence of manga
comic in North Korea.
Top selling comic too, man. Top 5 selling comics is what they are.
Yeah, that one comic is the top 5.
Yeah, it's the top 5 comics. But no, seriously, it's an example of, it's a working example that it's not the medium, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because those still are being successful. And yeah, it's gonna have to be a lot of soul searching for a lot of people if this is gonna turn around. And I think it starts with people's egos. People gotta start putting that shit aside, bro.
But you talk about an industry. Well, you talk about now multiple. In all fairness, multiple industries in the West, from gaming to TV to movie, comics, which actively market that they hate their audiences,
which is amazing to me. It's fucking unbelievable.
And then when they don't succeed, surprise to fucking prize, instead of turning around and taking any responsibility, they'll go, well, I guess they were racist after all. Maybe if they stopped if Jesus Christ came back tomorrow and wanted to talk to me about morality, I'm all fucking ears. Yeah. I'm hanging off every single word that he says.
Amen.
But when some stinky, smelly fuckwit Californian wants to fucking talk to me about morality, go fuck yourself in the ass with your own fucking head.
Yeah.
Right? So shut the fuck up, entertain me, or piss the fuck off.
Well.
But don't you dare fucking moralize when you're in a fucking den of iniquity over there with your fucking rapists and your pedos and your thieves and your fucking adulterers and your fucking murderers and so shut the fuck up. You are the last fucking place on planet Earth, and there are some shitholes out there that I would dare to go to for some fucking morality lesson.
Yeah. Fact.
Get some fucking humility. How about that? Fancy a little bit of humility on the plate? Nah, I guess not.
Which actually brings me to my next point, right? Again, talking about the health of the industry, and when things aren't going as well as what people anticipate or would like, you start getting frustration happening, and it's trickling down. I hate to use that term because when we talk about economics, it's not a thing. But I think in this case, just in a general like from morale standpoint, it is. And I'm going to show you guys something real quick because this happened the other day. Hold on. Where in the world? I'm assuming this is it. It is. Okay. Dustin Nguyen is a cover artist.
Oh yeah.
I want to be clear. I'm not covering this as some even like, hey, we're gonna shit on Marvel. Not the point.
Okay.
At all,
oh.
I'm just saying that's not the point of why I'm bringing this up. But again, this is a long-time creator in the industry. We know Avery. I don't know if we covered it on the show. Rob Liefeld had come out, had his frustrations that he had with Marvel regarding Deadpool. But this is what Dustin says. He actually, and this is the double down actually, because he made an original claim here on Instagram where he was pissed, and then people were coming at him, I guess, saying, "Hey man, that's one of the big dogs. Don't do that." And then he basically sent this the other day. It might have been yesterday, where he says, "No, Go fuck yourself. So I'm going to read this real quick, and he's clearly pissed. This is a long-time cover artist for Marvel. This is what he says. Also, everyone I'm not working with at Marvel can fuck themselves. He says, I've asked nicely for the past 15 years on behalf of every artist, stop fucking creators over. You're not getting another cover from me until then. Drown me. I'm okay with your minimum wage bullshit. So this is what he says in the actual caption. Getting hits earlier than expected from this one, and I'm kind of glad I got words. But really, if this bothers you, I'm sorry. Marvel has been undercutting creators from the start unless you're getting 6 to 7K, and there's almost nobody that could command, maybe Alex Ross, that could command anywhere near that. Then God bless. I hope you're getting a piece of the MCU after sales. Between them and DC, they're the only one that doesn't pay a royalty for overseas sales. Think America is the originator of superhero comics. Japan has manga, which we love. Europe has that cool ass shit we love, but can't describe. And what the fuck?
That's very true.
Yeah. He says they're not paying creators a piece. Come on, fuck this fucking shit. Also, merch, lunchboxes, teas. Good luck. So I guess the claim is that he's making is whatever royalty agreement that they and look. Also, as a businessman, I'm like, y'all gotta be reading y'all's fucking contracts, man. Because there's no way that it doesn't. Otherwise, you could sue the pants off of. There's no way that it doesn't say that. Y'all got to start learning, and I've talked about this before. And this is a hard time. This is even something that I encourage from the people that I work with. You know what I mean? We're always like, look it over. Don't just think that it's just random words on a document. Look it over, right? And protect yourself. And if there's something else that we need to get swapped in or swapped out, we'll do that. But we don't get us wrong. Don't get us wrong. We do go out of our way to take care of our artists. Nobody can ever say that we hadn't paid them or we weren't fair or anything to that nature, because I went into this creating this company with that in mind. Like, look, I know that there's a stigma here, not an age stigma, but there is a stigma.
Shout out Elton John.
Shout out Elton John, by the way. But there's not an age stigma, but there is a stigma that characters aren't created, so or aren't taken care of. Excuse me, creators aren't. So I make sure that even the initial docs that we send to our creator are very creator friendly, because we want to make sure we take care of them to the best of our ability. And if there does become anything that is of conflict, let's make sure that we speak and try to get it resolved. So you got to protect yourself. Say it all the time. Protect yourself. That said, what it sounds like is that he's grown frustrated because maybe, and again, I don't know. Is there something that's happening where there's growth overseas and they're utilizing the stuff that they created, but I guess the royalties don't apply to that at all? Is his issue, like, at all? And he says, I got a bunch of DMs from people telling me I got to be careful. Don't cross Marvel. They're a major player. The only two in the mainstream. Oh my God, fuck them. He says, man, these aren't my words, guys. He says, man, I don't give a flying fuck. Fuck Marvel. This guy's pissed. He says, fuck Marvel. Fuck anyone that I'm not indirectly working with. He says, love my Marvel editors because he says they get you your books out to you on time. The direct staff has no control. They don't juggle the stupid fucking numbers. True. I'm going to break it into simple ass fucking term. He is pissed. He says, you're an artist, you draw shit, you want to get paid for shit now, in the future, forever. You draw now and in the future in countries everywhere, including, well, let's say, yeah, if you got a royalty, says the one you don't live in. Fuck this current Marvel contract. I'm too small in the tier and can't negotiate a better one for you. Those in control, those work pool, please work for the rest of us. Well, no, that don't. And look, I'm telling you this from an artist's perspective, not even as an owner of a company. You cannot be relying on other people to negotiate on your behalf. Don't ever be that guy. Don't ever fucking be that guy. So I empathize with it. That plea, right? Don't be that guy. Only person's gonna take care of you is you. So you need to be the one negotiating on your behalf as well, and you'll be waiting forever if you're anticipating that the top dogs start negotiating on your behalf. That is, don't be that guy. You don't ever want to be that guy. He says DC isn't far from them after all. They are a conglomerate of things owned by WB. Doesn't help your argument, but when I ask for things, DC works with me. He says, I've asked Marvel for like, I swear, 75-page raise in the past 15 years. Minimum wage in California is doing better than them, which you've seen people talk about probably in a decade. Even the asshole Trump will do better than Marvel given a month. Says, I don't even need that shitty chump change, but I want to see how cheap they are. He says, all this equaling maybe a royalty. That's the please, sir, can I have 15 cents after you've made your thousands and things? No response. So what? Am I treading carefully for again? So what am I treading carefully for again? Seriously, forget it. So this guy clearly is just he's pissed.
A little unhappy. Slightly
disgruntled. Pretty unhappy with how things are going here. But again, it's not, this is a blow up effect, right? This isn't just that problem whatsoever. It's a collection of issues. That stuff starts bleeding in on the creators, where the overall health is down, and start bleeding into creators, and they start to act out and they start to get pissed off, right? So he is completely said, fuck it, I'm burning up everything. I don't give a fuck. I'm pissed off. And look, I can empathize with it, though there are some things in there that I'm like, guys, I used to say this in the music industry all the time. People used to talk to us about backwards. How are y'all able to afford this fucking, Sprinter van and all this shit? And when y'all go on tour, but we're in this busted up ass Dodge. What's going on? And I'm like, do y'all read y'all's fucking contracts? Does any of this fucking any of this make sense that you guys get millions of fucking views, but y'all broke as fuck? No, it doesn't make any. It doesn't make any sense. But a lot of it is also self-inflicted. Like, that's the easy thing. And I'm all about individualism, right? So while I can look at like, yeah, they're fucking over people, I also got to look at the individual. Like, why y'all keep putting yourselves in these positions?
Know your worth.
Why does this keep happening? Why is it the independent pays more? Right? Why, Chuck Dixon goes on record saying this fucking guy pays me more than what they can't afford me anymore because he's paying me better. He's going on record. He said this on video.
I was gonna say that myself. People say, hey, Chuck, would you ever work for the big two again? He'd be like, they can't afford me.
He said he wouldn't take the pay cut.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing when it comes down to where people are right now. You can give Vita Ayala every book under the sun. Do you know why? They're fucking cheap.
Yeah.
And you get what you fucking pay for.
Nope.
Are they selling books? No.
Not at all. Not getting now return. not even close. So yeah,
this is what you get. This is why you have an industry full of it. This is why they've had to try and bring back people into the industry. This is why they've had to try and bring back the Scott Snyders and whatnot, because they could sell books back in the day. Now, I'm not too sure. We'll see, but
we'll see. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's it is a industry-wide problem. I do think that creators do have a lot more pull individually than I think that they do. Because to his point, and that tells me everything that I need to know, he makes it a point to mention that Mr. Dustin Gwinn, he makes it a point to mention that he's getting contacted by other creators. And it isn't, hey man, let's approach this tactful. It's no, you don't cross these guys. And this is why it's so hard for people, not saying myself, maybe Az is a little more cynical on this than I am, but it's hard for people to feel sorry for a lot of y'all, because not only do you put up with this shit, you guys have been for a while now, especially over the last decade, basically the warrior class for the mainstream.
Yeah.
Right? Going after other people, the chuds, and going after everybody else.
Going after, more importantly, going after themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
ousting
It's
people
the
to
circle.
get-
It's the Mexican standoff. They're all looking to cancel fucking each other all the time, right? So yeah, that's sort of something you fostered. That's the culture that you guys have fostered, right? So I'm not going to sit up here and just say like, oh well, only the mainstream publishers are the problem. It's like, nah, there's some creative issues that have put y'all in this position as well. And look, even when it comes to like, okay, looking at other options, a lot of people don't do that because which has been a trip for me. A lot of these folks care a lot more about status, whatever you want to call it, than they do about actually making a decent amount of money. It's funny. I don't know if I've said this publicly. This is why you got to watch Ripping the Silverback. There have been people that you guys say, especially cover artists, hey man, they do some work in the mainstream. Why don't y'all work with them? Why don't you get so and so to do a cover? I've had people explicitly state that the rate upon which we would be willing to pay them is more than what they are making doing covers for the big guys. But they care a lot more about being associated with them, and that has more value to them. They're getting paid decently and consistently. I can't help that person. It's impossible. I cannot help that person. There's nothing I can do for that person at all, right? And it's not like it's a charity case either, right? I'm talking about paying people good money for services. I'm not asking anybody to do anything. I want to pay people what they value, or what they feel their value is. If I feel it's within reason, I can't help them. And that's the attitude, unfortunately, a lot of people have. And this is why the big dogs have such a stranglehold on this fucking industry. They got all these guys whipped into shape. For the most part, this is why it's such an oddity. You think he's the only one that doesn't know they're getting fucked? Not even close. But they care a lot more about that status. And so what incentive do the big guys even have to offer anything different? Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. So it is what it is. But yeah, looking at stuff like this, and not to say that maybe other comic book with South Korea and Japan and maybe even some pockets of Europe that do relatively successful in comics. That's not to say that other folks don't have their problems. I'm just saying that, dude, it's a lot of fucking problems here, and these problems are plaguing this industry. It's fucked. It's fucked. Okay, there is one thing that I did want to talk about that I found particularly interesting, real quick, because we're talking about they brought up WB, and I meant to bring this up earlier. Funny story. So I don't know if you guys, this was from Deadline the other day, where they came out and basically said that they were going to be backtracking from DEI.
Yeah, whatever.
And listen to what Az just said. And this is a key thing. It's buried in the article, but it's in the article because the article headline is all they're moving away from these initiatives, right? But this is what they say. And this was a memo that was sent to everybody that Deadline got, to all the staff over there at Warner. Our overarching work in this space will now be referred to as inclusion. Making this change better aligns our language with our focus throughout our company, in our industry, and across our content. Updating the language we use to ensure the intent impact of our actions are clear, you will see this new approach being updated as well as on our internal channels. They're not changing any, but look at the title. Warner Bros. Drops diversity and equity language amid DEI rollbacks. They're not rolling back shit.
No. Go back up. It's true. Discovery drops diversity and equity language. They're keeping the inclusion.
Yes.
So it's literally it's like saying I will no longer be eating donuts. I am simply going to be sticking to pastry-based objects from here going forward.
Yeah. So it's not even redefining. The definition, I guess, remains the same. It's just the language, the term.
Yeah.
It's all optics.
We could have called it fucking spadookle for a week fucking cared.
Right.
We're dropping the DIE language. It will now be referred to as spadookle. What does spadookle mean? Well, it means diversity, inclusion, and equity. Okay.
And as it says in the memo, our success absolutely depends on having a team that's truly diverse, reflects all perspectives, and has a culture where our employees feel valued and respected. It says these have always been our values, and those won't change ever.
Really? Because you don't respect your fucking customers.
Oh, let's say that again.
You don't respect the IP that you deal with.
No. So you're not changing anything. Is the important information to gather from that. Everything will remain the same. It'll be under a different, I guess, term. They're just going to save the I part of it, but it's the same effort. And look, I've told y'all this before, and don't get me wrong, I'm a white pilled guy. Like I'm very optimistic. I just don't think I think my optimism differs from a lot of people because a lot of people's optimism is old companies. Their optimism is old company that has been around changing back to its old ways. If that's your thinking of optimism, yeah, we don't share the same thing. I'm generally optimistic about like entertainment because I think that it's far more accessible to people to create independently and as smaller companies and publishers and creators. Therefore, they're going to be able to be creative and target their market. Now, that may mean that it's not a multi-billion-dollar franchise or a multi-billion-dollar corporate like entity that owns the IP, but that doesn't mean that entertainment value is lost at all. So I'm optimistic in that case. But with language like this goes to what I've said for a long time, that it'll get probably worse before it ever gets better. And I'd make the argument that it's never going to get better coming from them. Now, I'm not going to get too political here because, I mean, if you understand the history of communism, you understand this is what they do, right? The whole point is to infiltrate and infest, right? And hijack. That's how they've historically been. They worked incredibly hard to get to this position. They're not going to let it go. Now, you may say, well, that means that they may end up going down. Well, we just were talking about a couple of weeks ago, studios shutting down. They'll do that. That doesn't mean they're going to change, right? Because keep in mind, we're talking about Warner. Who's the company that owned the fucking Wonder Woman game and the studio? Right? So they're telling you that, guys, we recognize that the language probably is toxic at this point. It's not
the language.
Yeah.
The language is fucked, right? It doesn't matter what you change the fucking language to. It's
right.
What you're doing.
Yep.
You can change it to whatever you fucking want. You can paint the fucking pride flag whatever color you fucking want. It's what you're fucking doing that people are fucking sick and tired of. Rebrand, change it. It will do nothing. You will have no success. The only way you will have success is if you change what you are actually doing.
Yeah. It sounds so simple, but apparently they can't figure that shit out.
No. They don't want to. That's the more.
And I think that's probably the biggest part of it. And again, speaking of self-awareness, oh man, this story is gonna trip you out again. Talking about what's happening in the mainstream stream industry. But let me see if I can pull this up for y'all real quick. I gotta find this because y'all, this is gonna trip everybody out once you actually read this. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick because all right. So we all know that Snow White is on the horizon.
Brown.
Yeah. Well, Snow
Oh,
White.
sorry. Yeah. He's releasing soon. Yeah.
Okay. Hollywood Reporter had an interesting thing to say about this.
They fucking did.
Now, we know that this film has not been helped, and we would argue that the person that helped tank it was not only the casting people that thought that Rachel Zegler was going to be that should have been Snow White. It was off to a terrible start, but Snow White's or Rachel Zegler's interesting comments really tanked this enthusiasm for people that are parents, and for you guys that are like, oh, look at these old guys. Why would they be talking about this? A lot of people are parents. They have nieces, they have and such that they're little kinfolk that are gonna watch this. I don't even care about that. I'm speaking about this more from just a self-awareness standpoint. This is what Hollywood Reporter had to say. They talk about Rachel Zegler, don't get me wrong, and how she's had some controversial statements, but they're trying to share the blame. This blew my mind. Gal Gadot, meanwhile, is a divisive figure.
Oh my god!
And they're saying due to the Israeli actor speaking in support of her native country. Oh, Israel, person from Israel is Israel. Really, I don't understand.
A person from Israel supporting Israel. This is shocking. How?
Yeah. So there's, first of all, and I'm being completely honest, I have not seen anybody. Well, I don't. How can we say that she's divisive?
She's not. It's gaslighting. It's gaslighting and it's deflection away from that piece of fucking dog shit human being called Rachel Zegler, who is just a little prissy cunt princess who needs to shut her fucking mouth. You got two of these on one of these, and she needs to shut her fucking dick licker up. She's a privileged piece of fucking shit that's never never heard the word no said to her in her whole fucking life. She's had a fucking bottom fucking wiped by everyone under the sun. And she comes out with some of the dumbest ass takes he ever fucking heard. She comes across, it's not because she's young, she's just vile. You know? Beauty's but skin deep. And she's just a vile fucking person, a nasty fucking person, another product of the system of Hollywood. And she's done a run her fucking mouth all day, every fucking chance that she gets. Plays victim, runs away, cries, plays victim, comes back, says all the fucking wrong fucking things, shits over everything, and then thinks that her shit fucking stinks like roses. That's what they're trying to deflect away from. Because as we all know, Gal Gadot's probably the easiest target right now between the two of them, because it can go along with a certain agenda.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it also runs nice interference for Snow Brown.
And the thing that trips me out is, actually, it's not a trip when you look at it. It's access media, man. Like, come on, man. What do we expect? That's unfair to Gal.
Of course it is. They're not looking to be fair. Access media isn't fair. It's never been fair. It's not set up to be fair. It's set up to fucking kowtow to whoever they want to cow down to. And in this case, it's fucking Quiz for Palestine. See how that one goes down.
Yeah.
I want to
Crazy.
see you. I want to see you marching down the streets of Afghanistan. You know, pick a place, Fallujah. I want to see you marching down the fucking streets of Fallujah with your flags waving, saying "Queers for Palestine." Let's see what reception you'll get. Fucking
that blew my mind. I read that. I was like, these people. There's no way that they're serious.
No, they're not serious people. It's not. The Hollywood Report's not a serious fucking magazine.
No,
None of them are anymore.
Not even close. It was just amazing, man. Because I'm like, dude, you mean to tell me that talking about divisive figure? And I'm like trying to be fair. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody. I may have an issue with like Wonder Woman 1984, but nobody is like attacking Gal. If anything, it's the complete opposite. They've been like far more support. Like she is the one redeeming quality about Snow White, is it not?
Gal Gadot has never been divisive. She's always been very respectful in whatever she's spoken up about, particularly when she's promoting movies.
Yeah.
Always been very respectful, very charming, comes across well, comes across as a, pretty decent human being. We even mocked her about the Imagine thing, but we never thought that she did it maliciously. We just saw this huge bit of naivety,
Right.
When it came to that. So it wasn't even then she kind of came out of that fine. But all Rachel Zegler's done is just run a fucking mouth, and she's just a hideous fucking human being.
And oddly enough, now she shared the blame. Well, at least that's what the Access Media wants you to believe, that, well, it's Gal. Gal is a divisive figure, and that's not helping this film. I'm like, what?
Oh, shut up. Shut your fucking pet. Shut your pie off. Shut your pie.
Are we for real? And I have to remember,
no, we're not for real. We're not for real.
It's all a joke if we're being 100. So there was that oh man, where's let me see if I can make it appear one more time real quick, because there was something that I for sure wanted to get your
just a stupid tart. Just a stupid tart.
Yeah, so again, speaking of all these damn canceled things, do you know much about that whole Powerpuff thing?
Oh, I did. I think I might have done a couple of videos back in the day, but we're going back years now.
I mean, I almost forgot that it was going to still be a thing.
I think I might have done a video back in 2019.
Yeah,
2020.
I remember talking about it. Yeah,
and there was a. I think I got my hands on a script or a breakdown.
Yeah,
about it, and they were wanting to turn one of them gay. One of them was going to be a lesbian. There was I don't know what they're doing with the other. I think one of them was like something stupid, like she got into fucking sex work or something. It was like something really fucking retarded, and it was just like, what? Yeah, it got stupid, and it was one of the people who were attached to it was the last from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then she dropped out, and then they tried to get somebody else in, and I think they'd filmed a pilot that was never to be fucking seen. And then the trailer, lesbian firefighter, drunk party girl. That could have been the whore that I was thinking about.
Say, what's the difference is what you're saying?
Yeah, what's the difference between a prostitute and a fucking drunken Hollywood girl? I mean, they both fucking just spread the legs. So, the same thing. And it was normal going to college and they were just like, they were just gonna be like a bunch of fucking alcoholic and they ended up being She-Hulk, the series. They decided to put it all in that instead.
Shout out Very Dark, by the way. Appreciate you stopping by. And yeah, like that's wild. And then I didn't look at the trailer. I saw that people were, or whatever that was.
I wanted to see it.
I didn't see it. So I couldn't even comment on it. But apparently, people had a lot of things to say about whatever was happening. And look, that's one of those things that it got asked. It's CW was at least smart enough to be like, guys, we can't do it. It's just not worth it. And CW is
no, you can't use the CW and smart in the same
well,
sentence.
that's true. They haven't been profitable either.
Even they weren't retarded enough to do that.
But that's the thing, though. That's what trips me out about this whole entire thing, because CW is they've shown you they don't have any sort of fucking problem putting out something crazy, right? That people will consider bad. They have zero issues with that.
There's the whole Greg Berlanti verse. Holy shit. A decade of failure.
So yeah, like I'll be fair to them for sure. But no, that is a wild story, and man, it's not gonna ever see the light of day. And I think that's good on them. And I just get so intrigued by this idea that
remember, dude,
how do they get to this point? That's my question. I'm like, it's genuine. Like, how does a project get so far along the line and nobody's like, guys? Because I get it. Not everything's a slam dunk, but I have a hard time. It's like Joker. I saw Tim Dillon talking about Joker 2 and how he basically knew the shit was asshole.
Oh yeah. That was funny.
Right? So I'm sitting here like, how does it get to that point? How does you produce something? Now look, you can produce something and unintentionally it be poorly received. Like, that happens. But for something to be created where nobody feels good about it, to the point to where it gets like, at least, you're talking about maybe millions of dollars being spent. I just don't get it.
Remember when the CW sold, it sold for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And on the proviso that they took their 100 million of debt.
Yeah. The
CW as a network was never ever profitable.
Yep.
Never, not once.
That's true.
All the shows that we saw agenda based. There were a couple of shows which started off well. Arrow season 1 and 2, very good indeed. Pretty, great stuff. Flash season 1, not bad. Kind of died after that. But then they just had a complete fucking agenda change, and we saw what that agenda was. Lame and fucking gay. Let's just call it that agenda. Everything just bombed. They never had the viewership. Batwoman got a 3rd season out of nothing but spite. Nothing but spite. Naomi couldn't even get a second half of the first season.
I almost forget that was a thing.
That Naomi show, fucking hell, dude. Jane Theory and I were laughing when we first started watching that, and by the end of the series, by the end of episode 13, we were done. We couldn't even make jokes about it no more. Gotham Knights, remember that? Half of the one season done.
How about that? I forget about Naomi every time, and it's unfortunate because Naomi was one of the characters that I would talk about, right? I was like, okay, they tried to. This is when she first came out, right? I'm like, all right, they're doing their attempt to try to make an original character, and that any momentum that character was gonna get was just straight up destroyed with that show. Because holy shit, and I was still watching shows with that. Go ahead.
I look back at Batwoman.
That was an interesting.
And I honest to God, I think I was stuck in a North Korean prison. That's how it is viewed in my head. It's like a PTSD moment.
Yeah.
All I see is Batwoman. All I see is a subway and a subway car and Alice talking fucking shit about nothing. It's a fever dream. Those 3 series are a fucking fever dream of videos. I don't even know how I got out of that alive. I really don't.
Yeah, I watched. I can't remember how many episodes in I got, but I gave it a fair shake. Every show that I watched that I did reviews on, I gave it a fair shake. Nobody can say that. I know people think, oh, well, you just hated everything. It's like, no, I gave everything a fair shake, and I went into that. You can go watch my other videos, man. On that, I gave it as fair of a shake as it. Again, this was before the tokenization of the already tokenized character, when they replaced it with a black woman. But even before that, like I was fair as I possibly could be to that show, Batwoman. That was one of the last TV shows that I think I reviewed. And what one to end on?
I can't even remember how it fucking ended.
Ah, shit, I couldn't remember. I couldn't tell you. What?
I just remember some fucking tart being in the Batcave, playing with Bruce's fucking equipment, wearing his fucking suit, and turning around and going, "I'm not about to let a man take credit for a woman's work. Bitch, shut your fucking mouth. You've stolen all of his shit."
Yeah.
But they managed to repurpose that line and they forced it into Gotham Knights. Because they were so desperate to get that fucking line in. That's how mentally fucking ill the people writing that show are. I say are because they're still mentally fucking ill today.
Yeah, that's man, CW, man. Much interesting. Let's just say that. I want
moment in time. A moment in time. You could swing a cat and every time it would just hit a fucking dog shit show.
It was so bad that they were making fun of themselves. Y'all remember that line on Supergirl where Kat is like, she says like you look like, she said something about they look like a bunch of CW. It was some funny it was funny. Not she was actually really good in that show. And yeah, Supergirl.
Calista Flockhart.
She said something like you look like a bunch of CW whatever. So it was so bad at that point they were making fun of themselves. So they were very much aware of it. But yeah, man, rip Powerpuff Girls.
I think they probably had parts of them ripped at college.
Oh man,
when they were drunk.
So before we get into super chats, especially because it's coming from your neck of the woods, how we feel about Snape Dogg?
About what?
Snape Dogg.
Down. Look, I'm not a big Harry. I can't profess to be a Harry Potter fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm very basic when it comes to Harry Potter. I've seen the films, and I haven't read the books. I've seen the films. I do have the books. Haven't read them yet. I've seen the films, and I played Hogwarts Legacy, and I thought the films were okay, and I liked Hogwarts Legacy a lot. I got a lot of fun out of that game. And then when they announced that they were going to do a TV show, and it was going to be an authentic TV show, I was like, good, because I even from Harry Potter fans, I hear a lot about, yeah, the films are okay, but there was so much that they just couldn't put into them. And so the series is going to get, this could be the opportunity. So it's like, oh, excellent. This is a chance for me to really kind of like get into the Harry Potter thing. And then they went, oh, but we're gonna cast it due to inclusion and diversity, and we're not going to be authentic. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. Now I know I don't need to care. Now I know I don't need to bother. Thank you. Okay, so you just saved me watching a TV show. Thank you. So I might watch the first episode just for shits and giggles, or to see what that's going to be like. But Snape Dogg, I mean, it's not that it doesn't even match the characteristics of the actual Snape himself. It's like the guy's like, he's a handsome dude and fucking ripped.
Oh yeah, he's the opposite. He's the complete opposite.
Like, you are the absolute polar opposite of what this character is meant to kind of represent.
Yeah.
It's not as if you're some scrawny fucking hunchback black dude or anything like that. You're just like this fucking Abercrombie and Fitch fucking motherfucker. It's like, you're Snape. Fuck off. It's like,
man.
To me, that's just like, I said this earlier. I think this is just casting to get people mad. That's all it is. And it's so bizarre because the people that you're going to get mad aren't normies. I don't care because now I just, like I said, I know I don't need to bother.
You know, like, fuck it. Like, I don't need to be.
The people are going to be mad at the fucking Harry Potter fans, your fucking target audience, you dipshits.
And someone Magnum Man brings up a fantastic point. Like, the people that, like, basically they're targeting with the tokenization are the people that are already going to boycott it because of JK. This is a fantastic point.
You got the people who are going to boycott it due to JK, and then you got the fans that are left. You're like, fuck off to you. Oh, so you're just like alienating such a huge swath of Harry fucking Potter fans.
Yeah.
Dude, this is already cost them millions of dollars, like tens of millions of dollars. And it's not just in people potentially subscribing to watch the show. It's in things like merchandise,
right?
As well, the hidden fucking costs.
Yeah,
they've just lost tens of millions of dollars because they're fucking retarded. And JK signed off on this, and she's
I mean, again, she's very much, and I think it's a reminder that, look, I mean, we knew that with the Dumbledore situation. Like, she on one issue, she's obviously really passionate about, but she agrees with the authoritarian left on everything else. Like, so
in any capacity hinted whatsoever that Dumbledore is in any way a bum boy. But do you know what? He was, I guess, maybe. Are you okay? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was totally fucking good.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Yeah, so who are you left with? Because that's a great point. The people that would even appeal to, for one, they ain't got that much money anyway. But also, it's literally the same demographic of people that would boycott it because of JK. So you've made backwards moves off rip, and you set that actor. Well, to be fair, he accepted the gig, so he set himself up for failure. To be fair, but. Yeah, I think a lot of that also has to do, because I know like you guys' awards are the same as like some of the other awards, right? With the merit, like I know BAFTA has those award shows where they have baked into you can't be nominated.
The award for the best race swap of
that's basically what they have. That's basically what they have. But no, with their awards, right? They have like obviously that they can't be nominated unless they have a certain percentage of diversity and all this other stupid shit.
So my question to you, Eric, is this. Do you want to have success, or do you want to have a piece of plastic on your mantelpiece?
That's a good point.
I know which one I want. I know which one I would prefer. I'd prefer to have a show that was beloved, that went down in history as an absolutely incredible show.
It was profitable.
That made people happy, than a piece of fucking plastic on my fucking shelf, and everyone fucking be like,
but that's how narcissistic these people are, though. They care about that stuff a lot.
I told you, episode 3 of The Last of Us, which had nothing to do with the show. It didn't resemble the show in any capacity. That never happened in the game. Never happened in the game whatsoever. And I said, as soon as that episode came out, I said, this episode is here for no other reason than to go up for awards. And guess which episode went up for awards? That fucking one.
Yep.
That was the fucking one.
Fact. That's how they operate.
It is how they operate. Cuckman, you should quit Naughty Dog right now and just move straight to Hollywood. Like,
what was that? I saw some story that people were covering about him saying that Last of Us 3 might not happen. What was?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He was being interviewed by Variety about season 2 of The Last of Us, and about a year ago, February of 2024, he'd said we hadn't come up with a concept for The Last of Us Part 3, but now that's changed. And there's a concept. There isn't a story, but there's a concept, and we feel it's gonna be as good as Part 1 and Part 2. Well, I mean, half of that's true. and that there's one more story. We think there's one more story to be told. Then, when he was being interviewed by Variety this month as regards to the second season of The Last of Us, they said, "So what's going on with The Last of Us Part 3?" And he said, "Well, this is actually probably it. This might be this, as in this series, might be the last of Us."
Damn.
But it's okay because Intergalactic's going to come out, and that's ratio to fuck everywhere that trailer is.
Yeah, I've seen that. I did read this morning something about them like really even. So I may have been a part of the same, like, I guess, article where they're really obviously turning their focus to that, right?
Yep.
Is Intergalactic, that's their property. I did my video and I did it a pretty thorough one. I gave you cool graphics on it and everything. Had editorial team, I mean, tighten that bad boy up to try to explain how this could be salvaged, which is a Rippaverse book coming up soon.
Yes, I was gonna say this.
Yeah, but
The
I talked about that. There's gonna have to be some mind blowing like game play that
and let's be honest,
changes the industry. That's not
for
gonna happen.
as much as we like some of the Uncharted games,
None of those games are gameplay oriented.
And The Last of Us.
That's especially as clunky as a motherfucker.
We are not talking about the greatest gameplay here.
Yeah, they haven't been gameplay oriented since Crash, and all those guys are gone.
Amen. I mean, you're right. You're not. There no fucking lies detected.
Maybe we can throw Jack in there too, but that's a long time ago. Like,
well, Amy Hennig wrote the Uncharted games, not the fourth one because she'd been ousted by then. Cuckman takes credit for writing The Last of Us. From what I can gather, that may or may not be debatable. But it's clear to see that when Amy Hennig left Naughty Dog, there is a distinct fucking downturn in the quality of writing. Because what was even the fucking spin-off from the Uncharted game called? Do you remember that?
I don't remember. With the two chicks?
Yeah, with the two chicks that fucking bombed.
What was, I don't remember what it's called.
It was called We Lost Fucking Money.
I couldn't tell you what that was called. I couldn't tell you.
Nobody gave a shit.
Lost Legacy, someone said in the chat.
Yeah, and remember there was the guy who was removed from the what do they call those meetings? You know, focus group. He was removed from the focus group for Uncharted 4 when he said, "Why is Nathan Drake getting constantly beaten up by this woman?" He's like,
they said, throw him out it's that one meme.
Yeah, we don't want your kind of
throw him out the window, man. It's that classic corporate meme where they're like, we want to sell like with a guy that he's in there and he makes sense. He's like, why don't we just do what makes sense? And they throw his ass out the window. That's essentially what this is. That's crazy.
Uncharted Lost Legacy. No, it should be Uncharted Lost Money.
No, they lost their legacy already. That's for sure. That's somewhat accurate. That's crazy, man. Like, what the fuck? I mean, again, like PlayStation days. We were having this conversation last night. It's hard to talk about that without mentioning Naughty Dog because of Crash. Like that owned that entire generation. Like, I mean, you talking about a character or a game that was like it became synonymous with the system, right?
Yeah,
was Crash. Right, so it's crazy, man, how they went from that to Intergalactic. I don't even know what the fucking name was. It Intergalactic, the heretic, something.
The heretic prophet.
Okay, great name, by the way. But so yeah, I don't. That's what their focus is, and you bring up a great point, and this is the point that I kind of alluded to in that video. It's like, sure, if this has the most amazing gameplay. And they did a bait and switch on the skin, so you didn't have to be this bald head woman walking around in a Thriller jacket, Michael Jackson Thriller jacket. Then they could save it. But again, it's been a long time since that game or that studio was known for gameplay.
Hey, dude, here's my comment. Oh well, that's my comment to Naughty Dog. Oh well.
It's a crying shame.
I did a video about it a couple of days, folks.
Shout out Neil Druckmann, man.
Shout out Cuckers. Remember, this is a man who worships at the shrine of Anita Sarkeesian. That went to a game developer conference and shat all over great female gaming characters. And then decided to make Manby, whatever Big Papa Pump.
Big Mama Pump.
Yeah, big.
Holla if you hear me.
Yeah, bigger dick than any guy in that fucking game had. And I'm talking literal, not metaphorical.
Man.
She put on fucking what? 50 pounds of muscle from
an apocalypse.
From the day that she was in the apocalypse, skipping through the woods. I love that. Oh, daddy. You're saving that deer, daddy.
That apocalyptic protein, bro.
Daddy. Oh my God, Joel killed you. He must die. Let me pack on 50 pounds of muscle and let's retcon the story from part 1.
I mean, we're talking protein during that era had to been creatine. Hell, had to been like fucking wildly accessible because she was fucking jacked.
Dude, it was hilarious because when COVID hit, there was some already ripped guy, and it's like, let's say 3 months into COVID, and he like posted this picture, like, still working out, still ripped, got her, and Cuckers to it like saying you can have protein in her, you can buck up. It's just like, there's a lot of difference between a 3-month fucking lockdown with food readily available.
Yeah, then a fucking
years balls deep into an apocalypse. Where fucking society is falling apart. You fucking
man. Yeah, Abby was fucking jacked, man. Like, that's crazy. Makes sense, but you got what you wanted. To me, the best part of that game was Fat Girl hitting the little kid.
R.I.P.
into the fucking, fucking decked right into the garage. One of the best scenes that you'll ever see in cinematic.
I was watching Drinker's video a couple of days ago, and he referenced that, and it's just like, nobody forgets Fat Girl.
Not at all.
To me, is what the game will always be remembered for.
Yeah,
fucking pancaking this little Trantar.
Oh, shout out Fat Girl, man.
Abby's new girlfriend. I don't know.
That was wild.
New them friend.
Graph Web with a 2, as always, says hashtag cancel Disney Plus. He's gonna make sure he reminds us every single time. And Josh Kelsey saying we got 2 back-to-back of regulars here, saying nothing, dropping it on the table, bouncing. Gotta respect it. Tuckman with a 5.
Remember when that guy's video of this sex scene with Abby got hit for nudity? And the person challenged it, saying that it's a man, and won. And YouTube removed the claim because they claimed that it was a man getting.
It's impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah, impressive. Unlike Abby's rack. And
my time is more valuable than you humans will ever know. All of you enjoyed volume 3 of my cards. Don't you dare miss out on volume 4, mortals. That's true. Yeah, you guys ended up with cards like this here Horseman card.
So
yeah.
Oh, in actual fact, I actually seem to just have.
Oh, baby, let's go.
Yeah, let's boy.
Go. So yeah, if you missed out on those, I don't know what to tell you. Platypus.
Okay. Oh, there's your boy. There he is. But so look at that. That is a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that ain't no fucking Abby.
Nope.
Maybe got fucking back, if you know what I mean. Who this little monkey?
Who was that?
Little monkey.
Maybe you would have to read Blood Ruth.
Blood Ruth for that one, yeah.
Young guy, little shy guy. Oh, oh, Gina. Yes, yes. Gooding. Yep. Shout out Chuck Dixon. Created some awesome characters out of that. Of course.
Oh, who this?
Yeah.
Who this?
Everybody's new favorite. Everybody's asking about him.
And
South. We were just talking about him. I really love how that came. Shout out Will Conrad. I love how that turned out. That was awesome. Big shout out. So yes, those are available with ISOM 3 if you want to get deck 4. So go grab the new one, which will have some characters that have shown up in ISOM 3. Some of the like Dirty Deed stuff. You'll get some more. Who else is in those cards? Some characters from Yara 2 are in there as well. So yeah, you're gonna want to grab those. Garfield Bizarre Vigil with a 23 months says Kingpin already lost to Kate Bishop and Echo twice. Kingpin is no longer the same character, and we talked about that before that it aired. Like it's while he's returning to Daredevil, and it's hard to get that bad taste out of your mouth, right? Because that stuff did happen. Even with it's come from Austin with a 10 says, even with the current state of Marvel superhero fatigue or quality of the show, I think the fact is a decade-long gap between Daredevil season 3 and 4 is understated in the discussion of. I can see that. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to kind of keep targeting. But that kind of goes to the point of after even the in-game stuff, they started really, really getting heavily invested in characters that really nobody asked for. I just proved to be a mistake. Shamira with a 5 says, will you add more original books not attached to your verse? Like, will your publishing company accept us sending a book to you to publish if good? Well, not for the Rippaverse. Like, as far as like, the whole point of the Rippaverse is that everything's in universe. For Rippascend, which is our creator-owned publishing wing, that's specifically what we do. They're publishing a bunch of stuff that is not related to the Rippaverse. Who the 50 from Professor X says, Ripper. That's a lot of money. A lot of money ain't cheap. Says, Ripper, I know you said you'd rather not reuse assets like selling shirts with past book covers art on them, but what about using them for monthly membership wallpapers? Representing covers as desktop wallpapers would be sick. That could be done. I know though that especially with the original stuff, I know those guys love tricking that stuff out, but I mean that's a lot more doable than simply like I don't want to just get in the habit of like just always reusing stuff. I mean, you gotta pick your spots, but I don't want to get to where like we're just always reusing these assets and like recoloring them and stuff like that. I don't want to get in that habit. By the way, I appreciate that so much. That ain't cheap. With a 2 from with a 50, excuse me, from Professor X. DB with a 2. Says EJ saw you on Pod Office YouTube. Absolutely nailed it. Yeah, that was a fun stream on Monday. Was that Monday? That was Monday. Shout out Pod Office. Creative Welshman with a 32 months says, dude, so many mic drops this week. When are you gonna announce the Flabbiness Frogman? The Rippaverse is finished. If you don't announce it, Ripper, the losers need their coat. Hadn't quite conceptualized that character. Didn't know we were creating that. I'll have to go back to the drawing board to see what I can come up with. The Creative Welshman, appreciate that. Much love to you. And we got a 5 gifted from Casey's Creepy Creations. Then another 20 from my man. Said you've always got to take care of yourself first. That's what you got to do. That's what we were talking about with the whole creative stuff. Can't be completely dependent on. Look, it benefits the company to take care of your people. I know that firsthand, but you got to be the biggest advocate for yourself. Javi Nobody with the hate mug with a 2 says Rosie fat fuck O'Donnell left the U.S. Thoughts? Well, I heard. I didn't know if I only saw people tweeting about it. I didn't. She said it was something about like Ireland. I didn't know if that was true though.
Yeah, she's gone to the Islamic State of Ireland. Well, she has because they've said if they win, they're gonna enforce Sharia law.
It's crazy.
So,
What has happened to that country, man? All those
dude, I can't fucking talk living in the UK.
Yeah, true. That's fair. That's fair. The John Beck with a Tuesday. Yup, Rachel Zegler sucks. Again, Dogeman again with a 5 says, Jen, tell that blood witch friend of yours that the void is not a dumping pit for naughty demons. Had to read Blood Ruth to know what he's referring to. Oh, hi, Sylvia. Forgive me for that outburst. That's good.
Yeah, get Blood Ruth down here. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's so good. It is such a good book. Blight Blazer with a 46 month says, business. You know it. Everybody can type business in the chat right now. I know I didn't say that this stream yet.
Hey, Oscar's careful. I'll take you up and off if you're not careful.
We have
who's better mistake? Okay, never mind.
All right, I think I skipped one. Hold on. Emily, what's up? Love to see you. It says the puppet Harry Potter videos are great. The John Beck with a 20 says, great discussion as I have to chop 2 of the following for my UK trip. What do I keep? Bath, Cotswold, London, York, Cornwall.
Cotswolds and York and Bath, either between Bath or Cornwall, but you can fucking cut London right off there. Besides, it's not even in the UK. But yeah, but I definitely take York and Cotswolds as an absolute.
There you go. Intergalactic Power Radio with a 10. Genuinely missed the early 2000s. It feels like the peak of superhero media. Then with shows like Justice League, Batman Beyond, Static Shock, there are no more good action-oriented cartoons. Not in America. So it's all like
it's anime. Just go to anime. Yeah.
Carl Anderson, what's up? With a 2 says, speaking about cards, how's the card book coming? I'm gonna follow up with my contact on that, manufacturer contact on that. No, I said that last week. I'm gonna do it for real this time. Dojo Coder with a 200
checks.
Okay. Says what you need to understand is that WB is completely broke. Yeah, they don't have any money. They've been pretty open about the debt.
So that's about 49 billion in debt, whatever it is. You know, it's fine.
Everything's fine. Says they need those sweet BlackRock money to even make Harry Potter show, which means they are forced to race swap cast so they have a good ESG score, DOA. Well, that's always the risk that you run of having to borrow money from people, is that you have to follow by their rules. That's why I hate debt. But yeah, stuff like that can happen. As my friend, what you got this upcoming week? Well, this week. We're in the middle of it.
Tomorrow, there's probably another video dropping tomorrow. I can't say what it's about. It's not the big one. Still working on the big one. It's a little bit of an undertaking. And Sunday afternoon tea with Az, Super Chat Square Up, and we'll be going through some tings with some tings. And then we've got Sunday Fun Day in the evening. And Real BBC is going to be on Gary's channel this coming Tuesday. And then Ripping the Seal back next week on my channel.
On his channel, yep. Well, for me, I got one more political video in me to talk about spending, and then I'm done for the week. That will exhaust my quota. And obviously we'll be focusing on Rippaverse stuff, having some fun. And we'll be talking about Zaylan, upcoming Zaylan. We got Ripazine 3, all that stuff. So it's going to be a fun time. So I have a video coming out later today. I think it's coming out. Team's editing it up right now. And then we're focusing on Ripazine 3 and Zaylan. So we'll try to stream sometime on Friday. Well, I have to, because I got to at some point close down the Ripazine. So yeah, that'll be fun. So yeah, other than that, through the weekend, I'm just gonna be working. I got a lot of catch up to do. So I'm gonna be working hard. Other than that, man, that's about it. That's all I got. So next week, as I said, we will be on his channel. And I'm sure there'll be some fun things that'll happen going into Wednesday. And Zaylan, this Friday, 6 a.m. It will be officially launching. We'll see you then. We got some fun stuff for you. You're gonna love this show. Book, some of the best art we've come up with. Big shout out to Joe and Marcos as well. So much love. Joe Music says with a 2 split fiction. I saw Az and was it Mr. Porchak you playing with?
Yeah, we're doing nearly 6 hours of that today.
Yeah, I mean that'd be something for like me and my wife to like play on stream or something if we did it. I'm pretty sure I'll get a kick out of that.
Dude.
Yeah, I'll probably get a kick out of that. But yeah, I do have thought about wanting to play it or whatever. So yeah, but shout out, appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get back to work. We will see you next week on Az's channel, Hill versus Babyface. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. We'll be back with episode number 62 next week. I don't even know what episode this is.
Yeah, 63. Yeah,
63. Episode 63. Man, those episodes are climbing up. That's crazy. All right, guys, we'll see you next week on Az's channel. Be easy and peace out.
Bye.